welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review, but don't forget, every Wednesday night from now until Halloween, I am dropping 12 new spooky streaming suggestions for you to check out to keep your horror movie season going on strong. Y'all, I know a lot of y'all are like me. When September 1st hits, we are immediately swapping things over to the Halloween season. And if you're like me as well, you probably struggle trying to find out just exactly what you want to watch. Let me do the work for you, folks. Every Wednesday night, you can check out a new episode to where I'm going to tell you all the best in horror for you to watch on Netflix, Tubi, Shudder, Screenbox, and more. You don't want to miss it, along with all the reviews that I'm dropping throughout the week here on the channel. The best way to stay on top of everything is to get subscribed to my Linktree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/T-Scary-Movie. If you get subscribed to my Linktree, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for my written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for my horror gaming including Phasmophobia and The Thing Remastered, and to my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop, including a yearly subscription to the physical magazine. Take advantage of everything, folks. Hit that subscribe button. As more followers I get, more content I can put out for all of you. So, what are we talking about here tonight? Folks, I got a chance to go and see an absolutely batshit insane film here recently that everybody's talking about right now on social media, and I figure that is exactly what we're jumping into tonight, so you can get a chance to go catch it in theaters right now. Tonight, folks, we are talking The Substance. That's right. And if you haven't seen the trailer for this one before, let's not waste any time. We're going to jump right on into this. The Substance tells the story of Academy Award winning actress Elisabeth Sparkle, who now is more known for hosting a morning fitness aerobics show. On her 50th birthday, she finds out she's getting fired and gets into a car accident, and she's left information on this new drug called The Substance that promises it can make a brand new version of her. Younger, more beautiful, more vibrant, basically bringing back all the traits and qualities that you might miss about yourself. Now, after initially dismissing it as nothing more than some kind of prank, she decides she has nothing left to lose and takes the substance, and finds out that while it does succeed in its promise of bringing her a new version of herself, that new version of herself might not be happy with the old version of herself. And there it is, folks. That is The Substance. Now, I walked into this movie with a limited amount of information. I knew the cast, Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, Dennis Quaid were all in it, and I knew it was going to be a body horror in terms of the genre of horror that it was looking to do. But outside of that, I tried to stay pretty ignorant of it, mainly because of the body horror aspect. I've said on the show before that I don't do well with gore as much as I used to when I was younger. I just can't process it as well as I did. It's hilarious to me that, 10-year-old me could watch anything and everything. No covering of the eyes, no looking away. It's all good. But me now at the ripe age of 37, man, it's hard for me to get through a lot of things here. So I knew that if I looked up more information about the film, diving into the body horror, I'd find a way to skip seeing it in theaters. So I think I made the right choice, avoiding any more information outside of the cast and the genre that it was falling in. Because y'all, this movie is insanity. It is depraved as all hell, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Even with all the gore and the extreme body horror that they go through, this film is phenomenal, y'all. The fact that the messaging in here can be so double-sided throughout the entire film. I mean, take the fact that our lead, Demi Moore, who's playing actress Elisabeth Sparkle, is now hosting this morning fitness aerobics show. Now, again, she's this award-winning, lauded actress who was at the top of everything at one point in her career. So the fact that this is now what she's known for is probably leaving her feeling not as satisfied as she was when she was making movies. And the other part of that is that this is probably a good thing for her as well too, because y'all have probably heard the ridiculous standards that Hollywood has for so many of its productions that it's putting out. And only now are some of those molds starting to get broken, but you're always told you have to be the right age, you have to have the right look, everything has to be perfect. So you have to think hosting a morning aerobics show, a fitness show, is probably helping her keep in shape a bit as well too. Not that Demi Moore needs it. Demi Moore looks incredible, but that's like part of the double-sidedness of this, is that it keeps her in the spotlight, but it's also kind of working like, hey, you have to do this to keep yourself in the spotlight as well. And like I said, she ends up getting fired, which would leave anybody already, when you get fired from a job, with maybe a bit of an identity crisis, because you were likely good at that job. Maybe you liked it as well too. So the fact that somebody lets you go from something that you think you're doing so well is definitely going to leave you feeling vulnerable. And the fact that it's not a case of her show's getting canceled, but it's more so they're looking for somebody newer and younger to take it over, that's the second blow that you just don't need in this at all. Because your mind can't really then find itself being comfortable with the reason why you were let go in the first place. Like, you can't move on, you're not really getting closure. All you know is they didn't want you anymore. They wanted somebody to do the job better than you, who looks different from you. And so obviously that's going to have a big effect on your mental health. And Elisabeth is just seeing all these billboards of herself, and they're getting ripped down and covered up, and she's losing that status that she once has, and she doesn't want to go under what she is right now. Like, that is one very important thing here about the substance, is that everybody is kind of thinking about their baseline. What are you at right now? Could things get better? Absolutely. But could things also get worse? Yes. But because you're not thinking about that baseline, when things get worse, you start longing for where you were at, which I'm sure gives you an idea of where this film ultimately ends up exploring. But either way, she's gifted this opportunity to try out this new substance that again promises her a new version of herself. And that new version does come quite graphically. It's insane, y'all. It's absolutely insane. But she does get this new version of herself that's played by Margaret Qualley. Now, it's important to understand that Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley are playing the same person, okay? That is the only thing in reference to a spoiler that I'm really going to throw out here, that they are playing the same person here, that the drug does do exactly what it's promised to do. But in that, we end up starting to build what's obviously going to be the problem of this film, and one that I'm sure that y'all could see coming. If you have your new younger self around that's doing all these things that you now want, you yourself are not really living that life. Right? Like, the whole idea is that you're watching your life go by and you're seeing it in real time, but you aren't the one living that life. And it kind of came off to me almost in a way like a time travel movie, because, you know, I know for me, there's a lot of times I'll randomly be thinking, it would be so cool to go back and visit this point in my 20s, this point in my teenage years, this point when I was younger. But as a kid, like in your younger self, I feel a lot of the times you're envisioning in your head that you would just go and relive it. You have all the information that you do now, and you just want to go and relive that same day, the same hours, the same events that you were doing. And as an adult, especially if you're like a nerd like me, basically, then you start thinking about actual logistics. Now, wait a minute. Am I going back and, like I said, am I keeping the memories of everything I know up to this point and just getting to relive that time frame? Am I going back to that time and place, and I exist as me, and I can watch myself and see myself living my life? Like, there's so many different variations, and I couldn't stop thinking about that, watching the way that Elisabeth keeps an eye on the younger version of herself, Sue, played by Margaret Qualley. That the idea is that these two beings are the same person, and the substance is very clear about establishing that amongst like a few very small pieces of information, that your two halves, one cannot exist without the other. And so we start to see the struggle for the balance, the struggle for the control over who truly gets to live their life, because the erosion begins to happen fairly quickly. Again, she's given strict rules that she has to live by in order to make this work. And the implication really is that if you find a way to make this balance work, then you truly do have the best of both worlds, of your younger self and your older self. But inevitably, and I'm sure the people who are making this substance know, one side is likely going to start to get fed up with the other side. Because one of the key downfalls of this new substance is that one person gets 7 days on, the other person gets 7 days off. And there is no way around that at all. And that's going to build resentment, because the whole purpose is that you get your younger self back. But if you're still not able to even watch your life go by you, it's literally just happening. And when you wake up, you've lost time. What kind of life is that worth leading at this point? And like I said, a big part of this is dealing with loss and dealing with how you would handle getting to go back and get into these situations and experiences that your younger self did. Your younger self is not you. It's not mature. It doesn't have everything that you built up, all these experiences that you've gone through to really have, empathy, to have sympathy, to be able to relate to other people, to grow as a person. If you don't have all of that, then what care do you have for your other self? Like, if you were to go back and to talk to your younger self right now, not saying your younger self would be an asshole, but would your younger self really find itself identifying with the problems that your older self has? Probably not, which means they can sidestep a lot of those issues no matter what kind of person that you are. And that's the big issue here that we end up having with the substance, is the duality of the lives that that Sue and Elisabeth are both leading, and that they both just want a little bit more. But the flip of it is that each side also needs the other in order to operate the way that they need to. You know, older Elisabeth, as she sees that Sue is getting more and more of what she wants and living the life that she wants to live, realizes that Sue has to take more in order to get exactly what she wants. And that's hurting Elisabeth. But is Elisabeth anything without Sue? Because she's lost so much at this point. What happens if she loses Sue, this younger version of herself that has given back so much? If she loses her, does she still have any resemblance of a life? She's put so much importance into her younger self. And that also then starts dealing with the issue of nostalgia. That's something I've talked about on the show that I've had issues with before, and I still do deal with a lot of nostalgia problems, where it's hard for me to not live 20 years ago, to live 30 years ago, 15 years ago, in times where we were having just so much fun and maybe things were a bit more carefree and didn't have like some of the problems that you might be dealing with in this day and age. And there's the whole idea of you have to move on at a certain point, that if you keep living in your past, keep living in what you did previously, you can never get better. You can never grow, like I've said. You can never actually evolve any part of your mindset and your well-being. And that's exactly where Elisabeth is at, is that Elisabeth is stuck in this mindset of recapturing old glory. And because of that, she's willing to hurt herself and potentially others just to make that happen. Now, that's part of the real fear of this. Like, I think actually this has a lot in common with I Saw the TV Glow, which is another phenomenal film that I watched earlier this year that talked a lot about being too afraid to leave the comfort of what you know and explore something else. And now that film talked a lot about, you know, your body identity as well too, which is a lot of what the substance really talks about, is how we see ourselves when we look in the mirror, how we want other people to see us, and like the mental gymnastics that you do to make yourself okay with the way that you're looking. It's haunting and it's terrifying, the subject matter of this film, The Substance, for sure. Now, in terms of actual like scares and everything like that, again, everything is tied to the plot of the film. So if you can find yourself sympathizing and finding yourself getting immersed in what's happening, then this film really, really will scare the shit out of you. And that's not even discussing the gore and the body horror that's a part of this, because this is an incredibly bloody film. It's an incredible, brutal film. It's a gory film for sure. You know, if you're not somebody who does too well with seeing like all the weird, crazy shit happen to your body, you are not going to do well with this film in the least bit. But I do tell you, the story in it, though, is phenomenal. It is so great. And in the last month, I've talked a lot about how we've gotten films that have had these amazing performances that definitely should get some awards recognition. The Substance is no slouch on that, y'all. Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley should absolutely be seeing some awards recognition from this. I very much hope in the least we get some Golden Globes recognition for Demi Moore out of this one, because folks, this is one of her best roles that she has ever done. And the fact that she gets to keep transforming throughout it to actually play like these different forms of the same role as well too. It seems very similar, almost maybe not to like James McAvoy like in Split or even in Speak No Evil recently, but she's getting to do some heavy work here with this role, and she absolutely kills it. Margaret Qualley plays an excellent almost villain. You can't really just straight up call her the villain of the piece, especially when you watch the entire film through, but she does an excellent job in her lead role of Sue as well. That energy very much gets transferred back and forth between the both of them, and it's a real true shame that we don't get more time with the two of them together in this film. Definitely go and check this one out, y'all. I mean, honestly, I didn't see the filmmaker's previous film, Revenge, but Coralie Faja did an amazing job here with the script and direction here of The Substance. You really do have to see it to believe it. And I want to know in the comments section, let me know for a chance to win a Freddy Krueger Toonie Terror action figure, how you feel about body horror when it comes to the horror genre. Is that something you're typically pretty good at handling? And if so, tell me some of your favorites. Are you like me and just really deal with the thing and that's about it? I want to know in the comment section. Get your chance to win a Freddy Krueger Toonie Terror action figure. But that's it tonight, folks. Hit that subscribe button. I got more great stuff coming up for you here on the channel. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.
Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022 and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/axdew. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/axdew, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and a one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to T Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.